Hello, my Mercurial mercenaries! Just remember, when you see me sitting here and you look at me and you think, he's doing this with ease. He's manipulating his surroundings, manipulating his mouth with ease. Just remember that I'm like a swan. Not just a fat bird. I mean, I'm like a swan sitting on top of the water gracefully. I think this is graceful. This is graceful! But under the water, that's happening. And it doesn't necessarily move me very far. You know, I was telling you a couple of videos ago that just because a video looks like it takes 9 minutes, 13 seconds to make, it probably took the average YouTuber a few hours to make. Me? Days! Days. Well, recently I've been putting up videos that are then being taken back down again. For various reasons. I'm just going to stop and sip a coffee. Hold on. It's decaffeinated. This isn't even machine coffee. This is coffee out of a jar. Decaffeinated coffee out of a jar with almond milk. Making videos, putting effort into making videos, putting them up and taking them down. Like a tart's drawers. Gizzard fans may remember, because it was only a couple of hours ago now by the time I put this up, I put a video up about paper mache dream balloon. When I was doing my listen through, my first impression, at the end of the album there was this fast backwards bit of music, like you get at the end of certain albums that are trying to be all arty-farty. It went like this. Right? And at the time of the first impression I said, was that the last song on the album just played backwards, fast? It turns out I was right. I should always go with my gut instinct. But I read a comment that, and I misinterpreted the comment, and it said, no, it's every song on the album, the motif of every song on the album, in one song played backwards. And so I made a bit of an error then, and I made this whole video based on an error. I pulled up the last track on the album, I checked the record sleeve, and I could see that the last song on the album is track 11, Most of What I Like, and I assumed that the would be at the end of that track, so I pulled up the last track, scrolled to the end, pressed play, and I took it and I reversed it and I slowed it down and I worked out that it was every motif, every tune from the album played acoustically with a flute. And then I compared it to the other tracks on the album and I said, yeah, and I wondered whether they'd come up with this song as an instrumental to then just put on the album backwards, or whether it was slices of each song. If I'd just used if I'd gone back to the album, to the record, and just played it again through properly, this wouldn't have happened. If I'd actually just pressed play at the beginning of the bloody song, I would have heard this, which is it. So I was right. I was right anyway. The last song, which is an instrumental of every tune on the album, all condensed into one, at the end of the album, they just play that through backwards fast, and then forwards even faster, and then back, and that leads to the explosion. Quite simple, really, but it just goes to show how a misunderstanding. Just look at it this way. Remember the swan analogy with me doing that under the water, right? I'm always looking for something to talk about, because without things to talk about, I haven't got a Mercurial channel. So someone mentions something in the comments, or someone says something to me in the street, and I think, oh, I note that up here. And I think, I'll talk about that. And today, I woke up this morning, grabbed myself a decaffeinated coffee with almond milk, and I thought, I'm going to talk about that paper mache dream balloon backwards thing at the end of the album. I always boast about no research on this channel. It doesn't always work, my mercenary. Sometimes it lands me in doggy doo-dah. Doggy doo-doo. Anyway, I pulled the video. Doo-dah.
Doo-dah. Doo-dah. Doo-dah. Doo-dah. Doo-dah.
Not because of, there was nothing bad about it. It's just the fact that I was just talking bollocks. And who wants to be on the interweb talking... Actually, I'm talking bollocks all the time. That doesn't really work, does it? Coffee stop. Wait. That's not very nice. I don't know why I'm bothering. Change of subject. I was ironing yesterday. I iron. It's something I do. Not everyone does ironing, but I iron. Using an iron and doing ironing, like with an iron. And just because of the time of day I tend to do this, I was in my dressing gown. I always seem to be ironing in my dressing gown. Now my dressing gown is a Jedi robe. It was given to me, it was a present. I like it, it's a Jedi robe. It's a Jedi rather than a Sith, so it's the brown thing with a hood and the big flappy sleeves, and it's a great big long thing. I look like a Jedi without a lightsaber and any discernible Jedi skills or actorly looks. So I was ironing, wearing this Jedi robe, wearing a Jedi robe. Let's not call it a dressing gown, let's call it a Jedi robe. So I was ironing with this Jedi robe on. And this is steam iron, so I'm always filling it up with water, and I had the water over there, and sort of I've got the water just ready to, so I don't have to keep going over there. I've got a bit of water there to refill the iron with. This is water, it's preparedness. So ironing board, iron, water just there, Jedi dressing gown. If I had Jedi mind tricks, I'd say, this is the ironing board you're looking for. You enjoy ironing. Take over. In general, I don't mind doing ironing because I get to watch shit on YouTube. This video that I'm making now is the sort of shit that I would watch on YouTube if someone was doing this, but no one seems to do this crap. No one really seems to talk to camera just about nothing anymore. There's probably a good reason for that. That's why they've got thousands and thousands of subscribers and views, and I've got like a handful. No one really wants to see shit spoken to camera, but I enjoy shit. Right? Scatological. So I was ironing, and I thought, I must just get the water or whatever. So anyway, I step this way, towards the water. My legs get tangled up in the Jedi dressing gown, robe. My right leg then gets trapped in the ironing cord, and I fall like a tree. And as I'm going through the air, going downwards towards the coffee table, which is at an angle, a sharp angle like that of wood, with the water sitting on it, I can see that I'm going to crack my skull open. I've got a choice, basically. I drop the iron and save cracking my skull open, or I keep hold of the iron in the air and crack my skull open. So it's kind of death with iron in hand, or no death without iron in hand. So I go, this won't shock you. This won't shock you. This Radiohead could write a song about how much of not a surprise this is. But I went for the non-death version, so I dropped the iron and managed to miss the table, and I carried on living. But unfortunately, the hot iron burned an iron-shaped hole in the carpet, like a cartoon. I've only ever really seen this happen in cartoons or sitcoms. There'll be a sitcom where your main character will leave it on a shirt, and then he'll put the shirt on, and there'll be an iron shape. Well, that doesn't happen to people in real life, does it? But yes, I have an iron-shaped hole in my carpet. All because of Star Wars. Star Wars. George Lucas! I blame George Lucas. I blame George Lucas for a lot of things. But I definitely blame George Lucas for this one. Change of subject. I want to relay a story to you, and I want you to tell me whether you think this person deserves to go to my version of, well, my Mercurial hell. I've got a Mercurial hell. It doesn't really exist. It just exists up here. But there's people I cast across to Mercurial. I don't know if it's down. Is Mercurial hell downwards? I don't know. But I certainly cast people across to it. So I'm driving along the other day. Got a big queue of traffic. Driving through. It's actually a main road with a fairly high speed limit. But it's just bordering changing into country lanes. We're driving along, and I'm driving behind this van, Ford Transit van. We're doing all right, we're driving along, and I can see up ahead there's a little road that joins the road that we're on. And I can see there's a massive tractor sitting at this turning, waiting to pull out onto our road. Not only is it a tractor, but it's got a massive trailer behind it. When I say massive, I want to over-egg it. I want to over-egg it. It was a massive long trailer. There was nothing on this trailer, it was just a massive long trailer with a massive tractor sitting there. And we're driving along. Now there's traffic, yeah, and he can't pull out because no one's letting him out. I'm just thinking, please no one let him out. Don't let him out. I understand if I was the tractor driver, I understand I'd be feeling differently about it. I'd have a whole different take on the situation. However, I'm not a tractor driver. I'm thinking, please don't let him out. The transit van in front of me stops and lets the tractor out. So the tractor pulls out in front of the van. So the tractor, the van and me are now driving along at like 5 miles an hour. And do you know what happens then? The van driver indicates right and turns into a little residential street. He was pretty much at home. Just had to go a few more meters and turn into his driveway. So he turns into his driveway, he parks his van and he goes in, has his tea, kisses his wife, watches the TV, listens to the radio, watches a podcast, perhaps even watches YouTube. Hopefully not this channel. Leaving me to drive 6 miles behind the tractor on a mixture of pretty much single track, or if it is two-way, double white lines. No visibility. The tractor and the trailer are 10 miles long. The driver, that van driver, just doing his like, just stop, let him out. He cost me, I would say, 1/4 hour of my life. He should have to pay me. He should have to pay me for 1/4 hour of my time. That's about, well, I was going to say 20p, but probably not even that, to be fair. If he had been going that way as well, for 6 miles, But he was behind the tractor for 25 seconds. Do-gooders are a problem. Do-gooders are a blight on society. I want to know what you think, my mercenaries. Because I blame George Lucas. I blame George Lucas. Do you blame George Lucas? Over and